A few years ago, I completed a year-long fellowship at a major hospital in New York City. And part of that fellowship included blanket privileges on several floors, and one of the floors was cardiopulmonary. So when I was doing my rounds on that floor, a PT approached me on probably my second or third day and asked me for assistance with a patient that they really didn't know what else they could do for. So she brought me into the ICU, which is intensive care unit, and I saw this patient. She was in her early 30s, she was a mother of 3, and she had advanced cystic fibrosis. She was highly addicted to pain medication, and she was what they call a frequent flyer. So she was just in and out of the hospital, and they were at the point that they didn't know what else they could do for her, and she was in extreme pain. They had given her as much pain medication as they could, but she was still visibly highly uncomfortable. So I said, why not try acupuncture? So here I am. And so I am at the base of her bed, and there's a doctor, a few nurses, her PT, and they're all looking at me. And I'm looking at this woman who's writhing in pain, and she's in and out of consciousness, and she's about 85 pounds and just completely emaciated. And my heart, it was hard not to cry because it was a very difficult situation, and I didn't know what to do for her. So I had to just collect myself and say, okay, like, what can I do for her? You know, she's clearly uncomfortable. She can't breathe. I've never had the opportunity to treat somebody while their vitals are being monitored. So I was able to look at her heart rate, which is just off the charts. And I knew that she hadn't slept in 3 days, and she was in extreme pain, and she clearly has not eaten much. So I was like, okay, if I can just calm her nervous system, we'll go from there. So because she was writhing so much, I said, well, I'll start with the ear points because I love ear points. They release a lot of endorphins in the body, and I'll work my way down. So I put some ear points in. I was able to put a couple of points into her wrist to just start to calm her nervous system, and then I moved my ways down to her feet. And I got to her feet, and I started just applying some light reflexology to some kidney points. And kidney is a very grounding meridian to work on. It connects us to the earth. So I was working what we call in acupuncture with kidney 1, and applying light and then medium and then heavy pressure, and then working up her leg in a kneading way to just help connect her, because she was spiraling. She was not within her body. She was in so much pain. And after about 3 minutes, I felt a shift. Like, she started to calm down, and within 5 minutes, she was out, just dead asleep. And her heart rate decreased, and I was able to insert a few more needles and start regulating and moving energy within her body. And the doctors and nurses were just flabbergasted, as was I, but I had to keep my cool. So I was, I was doing my best because I really wanted her to feel better, and I did my job well, and I felt good because this was amazing what just happened. I believe in this medicine. I spent a lot of time learning this, and here it is right in front of my eyes. I see it. It's working. And you would think that that would have created a dialogue and a conversation between me and the doctor and the nurses, and they were grateful, and they overtaxed, and they went on to the next patient, and that was it. But I did form a relationship with this patient, and I checked on her, and I was probably doing about 2 to 3 days a week in the hospital, and I made sure that when I wasn't there, the other acupuncturists were treating her. So she got consistent care. And within a month, this woman was walking the floors. She was eating. She was doing better. And let me stress to you that she was not expected to live another day when I met her. And there she was. Like, she was improving against all odds. And when I would treat her, she would ask questions. She would say, like, I don't understand. I've been in and out of this hospital for years, and this is the only thing I've done differently, and I feel so much better. And I saw this Shen came back in her eyes. Like, she was engaged. Her spirit had returned, and she wanted to live. Like, she was ready to give the fight. She was just so emaciated and drugged out, she couldn't, and she's sick. So you have to work within those parameters to nurture and meet her where she is and help her, whether it's with your words or your needles or touch, like whatever you need to do to get somebody to reconnect with themselves, to move forward. And that's what I did for her. And eventually she was discharged, and she went home to her family, and I was so happy. And it was a really rewarding experience. And about a month or so later, maybe 2 months, I was doing my rounds on that floor, and I ran into a nurse that I knew that we shared care, and I inquired about her, and she said that she had passed away. and that she had overdosed on her pain medication. And it broke my heart because we failed her. We just completely failed her. She was this tiny, emaciated woman who was very sick and highly addicted to pain medication. And she went home and her pain returned, and she started taking the medication again, and she died. And this is a mother of 3. Was very sick, and it was horrible, traumatic, tragic experience. And it's something that happens all the time now. Not necessarily with somebody with cystic fibrosis, but from 1999 to 2016, the CDC has reported that over 200,000 deaths have been related to opioid pain medication overdosing. So something needs to change, and something needs to change fast. And I really hope that Western medicine embraces other pain regulating methods, because acupuncture can work so well for somebody